we are like 6 weeks away from Edge of Fate, and there's a ton of changes coming with the expansion itself. So while the expansion might not be the biggest thing ever, there's like a lot of things that are going to be changing, and I like some of it, and some of it has me worried. And so I want to talk about all of that. So I'm going to release a 2-piece video series going over the things I'm worried about and the things I'm excited for. Today, we're going to start with the things I'm worried about because analytics, baby. But there are 5 things that I'm worried about. I'm not sold that these are like definite negatives or that they won't be addressed by Bungie. But these are things that right now, as it sits with as much information that we know, I'm left worried about it. And so that's really what I want to talk about. So the first thing, for instance, is the soft sunsetting of the director. So if you don't know, we're getting the brand new portal screen. Bungie's intention is for all new activities, all new locations, everything to be accessed through the portal screen. Things like the new destination Kepler, you would probably think will be on the director. Not the case. Bungie's intention, I actually asked this in the middle of our recording session, how do I even access Kepler? I was having a ridiculously hard time finding it. And that's because it's not on the director. You have to go into a subset of subset screens within the portal to find it. And it was incredibly frustrating to find in the first place. And then I just kept bringing it up, and all the other creators that were there with me definitely agreed. The director just has so much soul. It is kind of like a fundamental part of Destiny's identity at this point, and it has been for over a decade now. And it's just a shame. The director's not going away. It'll still be there, but it'll just always exist in its current form, which I think is a shame. They're not putting Kepler on it. Wherever we go in Renegades, they're not going to put on it. And I really hope they reconsider that, because I think that is a huge mistake, personally. The second one, how they're limiting build crafting. So a lot of Armor 3.0 is deepening the depth of it's simplifying the front end, but then it's really deepening armor grinding or build crafting in a way where it's okay, if you want to be this type of player, you might have to spend a little bit more time farming the armor or getting the tier 5s or whatever, but you can get it. And there's the things like the tuning stat mods that add additional levers to that chase and that sort of thing. But one thing I really don't like that they're doing is only giving us 6 archetypes at the start, and 2 of them, for instance, I think the health stat is a complete dead stat. So really, there's only 4-ish archetypes that I might even be interested in. And if I really just want to build into things like weapons and grenades, or weapons and melee, or weapons and super, or something like that, then I have 2 options, really, or maybe 3. And I think that is a mistake. I personally probably would have launched with 12 or 18 archetypes to give even more combinations. I'm not sure if this is Bungie's way of soft testing the system, or just trying not to overwhelm players initially or whatever. And we don't know how often they're going to add more archetypes. Are we going to get 6 more with Renegades, for instance? That would be better, in my opinion. But I just think completely gutting the armor system, changing it, and then being okay, you have 6 options to build everything from is incredibly limiting. And it's something I'm not a huge fan of, and I'm very skeptical of. So that definitely has me worried. 3, solo ops. They've spent a lot of time hyping up solo ops. And for some people, these might be your activity. For me, they were boring. They were very boring. Some of them literally had 10 enemies, and you were just they're essentially the way I think about them is lost sectors, but instead of in a lost sector, they are in a patrol space. And it's just longer, so you're just running, but there's a boss at the end. There might be one small mechanic you have to do, shoot the darkness splinters or whatever, defend this thing, just like a lost sector, but just not fun. And that's a big shame, because I think there are other examples of really good solo opportunities. So for instance, Destiny Rising, the 9 game mode, where that it's a short solo roguelite, and you're just you pick buffs and you're running through. I know that's probably a lot of work, but it's infinitely more interesting than kill 10 enemies and run half a mile for some loot. So I think solo ops need a lot of work, and I'm a little worried about that because this kind of goes into the fourth point I want to talk about. Seasonal activities, destination stuff, activities. We haven't really seen a lot of that. It's my understanding that the destination doesn't have lost sectors, and the reason it doesn't have lost sectors is because that work went into solo ops. And so what else got sacrificed for that? Like, does this DLC have a strike? They haven't mentioned it. If it does the destination, does Kepler have a destination activity? Overflow, is that what it's called? Overflow, the one in the Pale Heart was sick. It was awesome. That was probably the best destination activity we've ever had. Very fun. Put a lot of time into it, kept people engaged for a long time. Is there anything like that on Kepler? Because I haven't seen anything to suggest there's anything like that on Kepler. And so, like, where's the replayability? Are we, the portal's sick. And the fact that they're bringing in old activities like Wrathborn Hunts, like Savathûn Spire, that's really cool. But if for the new season, I'm getting excited about grinding only old stuff, I think that's a problem. There should also be new stuff in there that's not like solo ops. So I hope Kepler has a cool activity that's maybe part of that. I hope there's a strike. That'd be kind of a shame if there wasn't. We also don't know what the season's bringing. So we know, like, for instance, Fire and Ash is coming 3 months after the launch of Edge of Fate. That'll have its own stuff. But does, like, the first third of the season have its own stuff? Like, there's just a lot of information here that we don't have. And that worries me because we are 6 weeks out and all of their messaging is, oh, the grind is back. You're going to be playing a lot. We want the hobby game to be here. But all we have to show for that are like returning old activities, the most boring solo op like activities I could think of, and then like short events, which the short events are really cool, like Arms Week and Heavy Metal. I'm a big fan personally, but where's the new grindy activities? I want to see more of those. So very curious and a little worried about that since they've been so radio silent, but I'm interested to see what they reveal, or if there is anything to reveal, I guess. And then the final one, and I am genuinely so worried about this, and this is not meant to be me like calling out anyone, but so much of the refocusing with the tier 5 weapons and the tier 5 armor and the shiny grind and all of this stuff is focused on in the new light leveling system. It's all, hey, we're bringing the grind back to Destiny. But I'm genuinely worried that a large part of the Destiny community doesn't like to grind anymore. And I think this is a consequence of, a number of years of, simplification and casualification of Destiny. Really starting around Beyond Light or Witch Queen with crafted weapons and requiring you to play game modes less and less and less to get the best things in the game. And making generally activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls easier and easier and easier and easier and stopping people from really pushing themselves. And that's fine. If that's how you like to play the game, that's totally fine. But so much of what they are doing is, hey, you're gonna have to be playing like a lot more of this. You're gonna be getting rewarded, but if you want the best rewards, you have to play a ton and you have to grind a ton and you're gonna have to do hard content. And while that excites someone like me, who's been doing this the entire time and has been very anti things like crafting this entire time, I'm not sure how the general population of Destiny is going to respond to that, and that does worry me. I'm also not a huge fan of light leveling in general. Like, I like the idea of, oh, you have to push yourself harder and harder content. I am quite worried about, we'll call this a bonus 6th thing I'm worried about. I'm quite worried about like enhancement cores or infusion material getting annoying because right now, like every time I have to go to the tower to get enhancement cores, I like immediately just lose interest in whatever I'm doing. It is the worst part of the game. I hate light leveling. And now that they're making it essentially the seasonal model, I'm quite worried about that. So we'll just have to see what that looks like. But there's nothing wrong if you like crafting. I think crafting has a big part in the game as like a catch-up mechanic or like reinvigorating old content. Like when they do it for old raids, I think that's cool. I just think like crafting in new, especially hard content like raids is always a mistake. And I don't think they should do that. And I'm worried that sort of behavior has altered a lot of the composition of the Destiny community, the mindsets of the Destiny community, and the willingness of people in this community to spend a lot of time grinding for things and pushing themselves to do harder content. Very worried about that. We'll have to see how that turns out. But yeah, those are 5-6-ish things, I guess, that I'm worried about. Hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll have something going over all the things I'm excited about, because I think there are genuinely a lot of great changes coming to the Edge of Fate that I'm very excited about. Let me know what you're most worried about down below, and I hope you have a good day. See ya.